Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this particular video, we'll discuss some more topics related to principle and practices of auditing. So it's one of the important questions that importance of auditing they may ask, or advantages of auditing or merits of auditing. All are same. So we all know that whichever the organization registered under the Companies Act, must and should get their books of accounts audited. Okay, so there are some of the advantages in getting this procedure of auditing. First one is verification of books of accounts. So all the books of accounts, whatever you have maintained in the company, everything will get verified. So the auditor will check whether you have maintained correctly or not. Next, detection and prevention of errors and frauds. So while examining the books of accounts, the auditor may find various kinds of errors and frauds. So this will be very helpful for the organization to prevent these frauds and detect these errors and correct them. That is one of the main advantage of auditing. Next, morale checks. So when the employees know that the books of accounts, whatever the maintained by them, will get checked, they will carefully with that fear, ಆ ಒಂದು ಭಯ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಯಾರೋ ಬಂದು ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾದಾಗ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳು ಇರುತ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ ಮೇಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಮೊರಾಲ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅವರು ಭಯದಿಂದ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ನೋ ದಟ್ ಆಡಿಟರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಚಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಅಕೌಂಟೆಂಟ್, ಈಸ್ ಅನ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡರ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್. ಆತನಿಗೂ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಗೂ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅವನು ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್, ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ದಲೆ ಅವನ ಸ್ವಂತ ನಿರ್ಧಾರವನ್ನ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದು ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೆಟ್ ದ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್. It protects the interest of shareholders. So what happens when auditing is done by some third independent person? So even the shareholders can believe and have the trust in the financial position of the organization. So the shareholders will get to know the true financial position of the organization, and the shareholders will get to know if the organization has done any frauds and errors. So it will protect the interest of shareholders. So there is no chances for the shareholders to get cheated, because all the information will be kept transparent before them. So they will easily know what the financial position of the organization. Next, check on directors. Usually the directors and top level management will do certain frauds. So when they get to know that auditor will come and check all the books of accounts, it is less chances that they do certain frauds. So there will be even check on directors also. Next, valuable advice. So when the auditor checks the books of accounts of the organization, he will give his valuable advice and suggestions on the accounting system maintained in the organization, or the internal audit system, everything. So he has his expert knowledge, because auditor has a vast experience in various domains. So he will give a valuable advice. So he will be the right person for any problems in the organization. Next, advantage for general public. So when the public wants to invest in any of the organization, they will see the balance sheet. So based on the balance sheet, they will get to know the financial position of the organization. So when auditor has verified that, it means that it is a true financial position. So they can blindly trust that, and they may think of investing in the company. So it is again an advantage to general public. And useful for tax department. So in order to calculate how much tax the organization has to pay to the government, the tax authorities may use this balance sheet or P&L loss account. Based on that, they may assess the tax of the company and collect the company's tax, corporate tax. Information about financial condition. So what happens with the help of audit report? The financial position of the company is projected, the true financial position. So which is a very good sign. So what happens? There'll be no cheating in the financial position of the organization. The fair and true financial position will be projected. Next, disadvantages or limitations or demerits of auditing. So even though auditing has many advantages, there are again certain limitations also. Non-deductions of errors and frauds. See, auditor is also a person, so he may neglect certain things, and he may also fail to deduct certain frauds and errors. So again, he would have got some bribe from the organization, due to which also he would have neglected that. So that is also one of the disadvantage. Next, dependence on the explanation of others. So when auditor gets certain doubts or when auditor needs certain clarifications, he will go and ask the accountant. So whatever the explanation the accountant gives, the auditor should blindly believe on that. Even though the accountant will give the false explanation, the auditor will depend on the explanation given by the accountant. So that is also one of the disadvantage. So dependence on the opinions of others. So sometimes auditor will have to consult lawyers or engineers, architects and all, because he cannot be expert in all the fields. Sometimes you have to consult and other professionals also you need to consult. So based on their decisions and their suggestions, he has to rely sometimes. That may be again a disadvantage because it doesn't be his own opinion. Next, conflict with others. So sometimes auditor may be a little bit harsh with the organization employees and all. So what happens? Uh, the decision, it depends from person to person. So there may be a bit conflict may arise between the auditor and the organization. So that is one of the disadvantage. Next, effect of inflation. So sometimes what happens is due to certain estimates done in the financial statements, so the financial statements may not provide the true and fair representation. So due to the inflation, deflation and all, so again it acts as a disadvantage for the auditing. Next, corrupt practices to influence auditors. So some organization may want a very good report, very good audit report, very fake financial statements. They may give some black money to the auditors and get the report done however they want. So all these malpractices are the disadvantages of auditing. We have seen many scams. Next, no assurance about the company's future. See, auditor can only give the report of the financial year which is over. So he cannot predict the future. Auditing cannot predict the future. Auditor cannot say that after 10 years the company will have this much profit. After 10 years the company will have this much assets. He cannot predict the future. So he can only give the report based on the books of accounts maintained by the organization. So that is one of the limitations. Next, inherent limitations of the financial statements. So sometimes what happens, there are again some non-monetary facts. So see, auditing usually deals with monetary facts, but there are again certain non-monetary facts because there are many decisions taken by the personal judgment of the owners. So sometimes the balance sheet will not have true picture of assets and liabilities. Fake values they would have shown. So all these things are again the disadvantage. Next, post-mortem examination. So auditing work begins as soon as the accounting work is over. So auditor should completely depend on whatever the books of accounts maintained by the accountant. So he should, based on that books of accounts, he will start the auditing work. So he will completely rely on the books of accounts. So if that books of accounts is not maintained properly, then again auditing will not go properly. So that is also one of the disadvantage. Next, detailed checking is not possible. See, auditor cannot see in big organization, many transactions will take place. So auditor cannot sit and check all the transaction. He cannot check each and every transaction because it will take much of time. It is more time consuming. So that is also one of the disadvantages of auditing. Hope you have understood advantages and disadvantages of auditing very well. In my next video, I'll come back with qualities of an auditor. Thank you for watching the video. I'll come back with the next video.